Hello YouTube, this is the Galway Gamer, and we are back again with Pillars of Eternity. This time it's the last time, I believe. We are in the final chamber. The final chamber, yeah. From the last episode, I reloaded to the start of the room. This was just because we could go through his dialogue in a bit more detail, since it will be probably the last dialogue of the game. And yeah, and so you have a little more time on the episode as well. There's no point having a 5-minute episode to round off one of the longest Let's Plays on my channel so far. Actually, it is the longest by nearly double.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
We got a few rings here. Let's have a quick look at them, just for the sake of it. I know we probably won't be using them. Look at this. Minor spellbound, knockdown. Yeah, we've so many, and these characters don't even have belts. Let's just give them this guy a ring. Yeah. Why not? And excuse me, of course. It's kind of silly giving us all these interesting items right before the last boss fight.
I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you will answer to me as well.
Broad belt of power. Why don't we take a look at that? Broad belt of power. There we go. Of might, of resolve, +2. That's really strong. There you go. Okay.
I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
Whew, can you feel it? This hype is unreal.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. Osionis. They have held off many would-be invaders.
Getting all this dialogue in, so that's why I'm not talking.
You are ready to give a confession?
I'm ready to hear one from you.
Alrighty. Ooh, look at all that experience. Damn. Okay, moving on. This is the machine, eh? This is the big machine that's causing all of these problems, causing a White legacy. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed, its walls lined with Adra and trimmed with copper. At the far end of a great pillar of Adra pierces through the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours. They are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Thaos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You've something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind, but you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first, some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. Was Yuvara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
That machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
All of these statues, who are they of?
They are monuments to Woodica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No more evasions. You have to know. Everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Thaos says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Thaos' every word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage, and doubt and fear, hopelessness. And doubt and fear and hopelessness. Until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it, and your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again. Okay then. That's the real Thaos.
Find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
It was reason. It was reason that guided her hand in all of this.
Then she should have obeyed. I ask one thing of all my followers. She was incapable. A waste of rare talent and intellect.
Blind obedience is a lot to ask of someone with a mind of their own.
Indeed, you must care little for obedience, judging by the company you keep.
Ooh, that's rude.
I gather you have had your soul awakened. Why else would you shadow my footsteps like some stray mongrel? You think I have something to offer you, but our business was concluded long ago.
What do you know of our business?
You think your abilities only flow in one direction. That isn't how it works, I'm afraid. Not for me. For all that you saw of my soul in the sanitarium, I saw as much of yours.
One of us is going to die in this room. You may as well admit your lie to me before that.
I answered your questions once. That your soul is not fit to accept the answers is of little concern to me. I lied to no one. Not to you, not to anyone. The gods are real. They are everything we need them to be, and the world is better for it.
You convinced me once that spreading your false faith would end atrocities, yet here you are, committing your own.
The spread of our faith ended many such atrocities. I do what I must to ensure it continues to do so. The heart of this country has skipped a beat. Nothing more. I have done far worse. I plunged the peaceful kingdom of Thaos into civil war. I slew the monarch of Desantio, whose people never knew hardship under his rule, and replaced him with a cruel despot who brought them to ruin. When plague arrived at the great city of Arborensis, I saw to it that the cure did not. They piled their dead outside the city in heaps that rose above their walls.
Is this supposed to diminish the damage you've done here?
It is to show the proper perspective. There was a time Back when your soul was still a shapeless mist. When the world believed only in false gods. Thousands of them. Gods that told them to take slaves. Gods that told them to make war upon their neighbors and devour the slain. Gods that told them to burn their children alive and cover themselves in the ashes as a sign of their faith. But all that changed when they learned of the true gods. Our gods. All those misshapen, bestial instincts melted beneath the radiance of our God's majesty. You could see it in their eyes. That dull emptiness replaced with the glimmer of a kindled spark.
You led them to overcome their nature.
No person can overcome his instincts by himself. Only with the aid of a god, someone he will respect and listen to, even against his every impulse, does he stand a chance. Have you imagined this existence? The one the apostate would have created. We are not all so virtuous as she. Without our gods, the most wicked, the most tyrannical, they would take that power for themselves. But more than that, it would be a hollow existence. All mysteries forever unanswered. All purposes constructed from meaninglessness. No endings to bring closure. Only a wheel, turning without mercy, grinding our spirits to dust. It is the least of all possible costs. Are you so dense as to think a faithless world would not be ridden with calamity? All I have seen, the millennia of experience. I will not be dissuaded from this course. This is the only way. You have not thought this through. There is no leaving this place for you. I allowed it once, but you have made it all too clear what a mistake my mercy was.
Okay.
Your soul and thousands of others, I will see this world purged of its suffering. Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Boss fight time. No idea what that long freeze was, but it happened. Oh, that was quick.
That one hit true.
He is pretty much the same HP as like a bandit.
I'll get the next one.
Pests. I lost the spell.
At your feet rests the body of Thaos, hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an internal burn now smoothened across his coloured, drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenceless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud. With a deep breath you plunge into Thaos' soul, and where in Brackenbury it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it's an expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Ingwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of the long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the room, and you are standing in now, and it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra-pillar and the machine that encases it. Thaos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at the faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked girls, at mothers bouncing infants quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back towards the machine, your breaths restricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large medicinal or mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow and sending tremors to the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now with the force of an accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your very shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into grey heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above the Aedra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in a slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it's looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement, and look back up to see it melt into pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, and fades into darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs have passed, the chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down on Thaos' lifeless body. You sense a listlessness to Thaos' soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and you're able to do with it as you please. I'm going to tear your soul apart. I do not envy you, Thaos. I, of all people, realize the sway memories can hold. It is time you were granted peace. You reach out for Thaos' soul, and you can feel its frailty and defeat. Its texture is like a coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of disintegration. You insinuate yourself between the threads, pushing and weaving apart, unravelling the stitching until it's bereft of structure, a formless heap bound together by nothing at all. In its midst, you dedicate your focus to a single idea, and the idea is shatter. You concentrate, and as you concentrate, you feel a force building within your soul. An outward pressure that strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. Then, you can contain it no more. You transfer it into Thaos' soul all at once and release it there, a detonation of will that expands in all directions, driving out the remnants of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. You can feel his presence no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes through your mind. A word you spoke when you were one with the Thaos in the ancient memory. You realize the word that activates the machine. Wow, okay. So we just defeated Thaos. Thaos' soul is now free and at peace. And now we get to decide, I guess, the fate of Deerwood, of the Deerwood. This is the Ingwithan machine, I guess. This giant Aedra pillar. Can we get a good look at it? Yeah, look at that. Crazy. Okay. Whew. Such lag. Okay. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Thaos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. You've seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it should be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as the machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Speak the command to activate the machine. Okay. There is a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as the old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the soul will be sent into the Adra vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. I'm going to return the souls to the bodies they were intended for, because that's what Hylia wanted of me. And I don't want to go against the will of the god, even though we know that the god isn't a real god, but actually a very powerful, omnipotent, I guess, being that was created by the Ingwithans, right? So it still holds power, it's just not a creator of the world. So I'm going to return the souls to the bodies they were intended for, as highly requested. If I had any choice and I was free without Hylia being involved, I would probably send the souls back into the reincarnation soul, or return them to the bodies. I wouldn't end the existence of the souls, and I wouldn't strengthen the Darwood souls already. I don't know why I would do that. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of tens and thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold them all at once, and their force is so great that it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction. Wow, guys.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. A single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground. You freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Thaos used to enter Sun in Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Thaos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Thaos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants, and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren, or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Widewind's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in unraveling Widewind's legacy. They were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. Having seen both the ills and the promise of animancy, internally the knights quietly began a more cautious exploration of the new science. Depleted in numbers but bolstered by their newly forged stock of soul-augmented weaponry and a small contingent of forged knights, the Knights of the Crucible would soon become an order few in Defiance Bay would dare to cross. But the opportunity to build upon their newfound power proved too great a temptation for the High Justice. What was at first a measured approach to animancy soon gave way to a rapid buildup of armaments. The High Justice would eventually seize control of the city for his order and place Defiance Bay under indefinite martial law. The destruction of the machine atop Ter Noaneth spelled the end of the reanimated corpses in Heritage Hill. Though at first few were willing to venture into the abandoned district, it was soon cleaned out and rebuilt. The district's horrors still fresh in people's minds. It would be some time before it was fully repopulated, but eventually the lure of cheap prime land would erase the memory. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodans took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of animancy, and that the purging of animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them. In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without repercussions. The town of Deerford had seen the last of the cult of Scan. Dark rumors about the town's many curses quickly faded, and travelers soon returned. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the Master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Odd-Nua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Odd-Nua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Ingwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key, and the group's efforts to erase the Ingwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad, so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Ingwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Thaos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood, and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War. Believing Magrin to have been a pawn in the machinations of the Queen that was, and feeling that Thaos' expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built a pyre and threw himself upon it, using his own shattered staff as kindling.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
For you, the death of Thaos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Awesome. So I guess that's Pillars of Eternity, guys. That was a crazy ending. I love those ending slides in all games. I like them in, I think they might not be in Elder Scrolls games, but they're definitely in Fallout games. And I love them because it really much tells you the result of all of your actions. And yeah, some of those results weren't so good, actually. I mean, the Gilded Vale became a lawless town. I mean, that's not great. And the fact that Animancers were still all killed, and then, like, martial law in Defiance Bay, that kind of sucks. But overall, I think we done quite well. I mean, we did want to be a good guy, and I think we achieved being a good guy pretty well. Wow, it's crazy. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. Also, you know, if you want me to play another game, like, you can recommend it. I can put it on my list and maybe play through that at some point, you know, comment that below, or whatever, you know, hit me up. But yeah, guys, thank you guys very, very much for watching this episode, and not only this episode, but the entire series. If you watched it, I'll probably start another series either in the week before Dark Souls 3, or like after I've finished that game, so maybe a week after, or maybe 2 weeks after, depending if it's like super hard or I want a second playthrough. So yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.